Now we have an incredible session planned for the afternoon where we will be led in conversation by a dynamic speaker, a very talented entrepreneur, Mr. Yabela Dlali, who will be talking to us about how he started the YDT group and what you can learn from his entrepreneurial journey. So today's session, afternoon session, is by Mr. Yabela Dlali, who joins us from all the way from Bloemfontein. And he has mentioned that it is quite warm today. So before I just hand over the platform to him, I'd just like to go through his profile just so that we all know who we have in the house. I know for most of us who've just eaten, and even if you've just had pap or ugali or whatever it might have been, and you're feeling like, oh, I might just be sleepy for this session, trust me, the type of speaker that we have right now, you will have energy for days. Mr. Yabela Dlali has a personal motto that says, I am well able to do this. He is a dynamic entrepreneur with very good public speaking abilities. He is currently leading as CEO for a group of companies under YDT Group. And the companies consist of companies in property market and financial industry. He has 13 years experience in financial services and planning industry and 11 years in property market experience. He is well placed to offer advice on investment in these areas. He has been advising on property matters for 2 television shows, 3 national radio stations, and 4 local radio stations as a resident advisor, broadcasting to over 5 million listeners. Now, we are very privileged to have such a person as a speaker sharing his wealth of wisdom with us today. He has written a financial advisory column for the newspaper Public Eye, which is distributed in South Africa and Lesotho. He is a Mandela Washington Fellowship alumni, and he was based in Austin, Texas during his fellowship, which was hosted by the University of Texas, Austin. He is the founding president of JCI. Now, I need to say this very carefully. He is the founding president of JCI, Manga Wong of JCI South Africa.
Thank you.
And that was extra special for those who joined the call a bit earlier. I had to work on my pronunciation of Manga Wong. He is also actively participates in service to Talita Kum House of Safety. As a skilled master of ceremonies, Yabela further acts as a program director for corporate events, gala dinners, international conferences, public gatherings, and social events. Now, just when you thought that was all, his role that he's most proud of is being a husband to Nozipho Dlali and a father of 2 beautiful children, Olwake and Lizalise. Please, ladies and gentlemen, switch on your mics, put on your cameras, and let us welcome Mr. Yabela Dlali, who is also a JCI senator.
Yes, sir.
Dlali, the floor is yours, sir. We're looking forward to this session.
Thank you so much, madam. I confirm, I change ground again. Just when you think you know where I'm sitting, then I change. Just when you think you know what I'm wearing, then I change. That's business. Good afternoon, ladies and gents. I hope everyone can hear. We did a mic test earlier on, so we will not go that route now. Before we get to it, I would just like to say thank you to Senator Uno for doing such a great event. The GSM Success Symposium is a great initiative. most people want to do things. Most people would like to achieve things and success, but the understanding of counting the cost or of knowing where to start, even for those that they believe they're ready, it is not always simple and straightforward. So I took the invite. I'm going to give it straight as it is, and we will get straight to the point so that you get to see things without any sugarcoating, but understanding exactly what you're getting yourself into. For those that joined us for a business launch, or rather business support launch by JCI Cape Town a week or so ago, it is almost a similar type of presentation. However, it is not the same. On that day, we were just touching the bit of the surface. Today, we go deeper. So if you were there last time and you are here today, now you'll be able to know the difference, having the same content, but putting it out differently, because the same things don't apply the same to everybody. When they say the petrol price is 15 rands per liter, it is 15 rands per liter for everyone. But the guy who's driving a Ferrari is going to feel it differently than the guy who's driving a Uno. Sorry, no pun intended. So there'll be a difference. There'll be a difference in how they feel. The same petrol price, the same filling station, the same petrol quality, but because they are in a different place and they perform differently, therefore 15 rand will run out very quickly on a Ferrari. Now, so that we understand why and how do we apply the similar content in a different situation. Now, here goes. It's a success symposium. Success has many definitions from many different people. Absolutely. Others, they say it's a balance between your time and money. Others, they say, is the ability to do whatever you want when you want without making money an issue. Honestly, it is really up to you what you define as success to you. For somebody else, it is simply to be able to can pay a bond properly every month and get out of a check. To them, that's success. It's okay. But what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you as a burden in business? Now, starting with different business ventures, we did it, like I said, you will see the slides are almost practically the same. I just edited 2 or 3 and removed a couple. Now, the things that are totally different, we will get into them. For now, let's browse through the baby food stuff. The business ventures, the self-employed and business owner and entrepreneur and tenderpreneur and social entrepreneur and serial entrepreneur. These are the list of different entities that we have, and it is not limited to these guys, please. I'm just stating out the basics so that we all know and you can be able to, should I say, position yourself or be able to allocate or know which category you fall under in a bigger spectrum of things. Now, if we run through them quickly, because we're going to get to the real things now. If we run through them quickly in terms of their definitions, top level definitions. Self-employed is when you are the business. Without you, the business does not run. It's mostly the professionals, accountant, doctor, lawyer, even a chef sometimes, but the business is that you are the business. Without you, there's no business, but you are not employed. So you are self-employed, self-explanatory, I guess. And then business owner is the person who does not care about the vehicle as long as they're able to trade, buy and sell. That's what trade is. It's buy and sell or create and sell. So they don't bother as to what it is, as long as I make money and I work through the system. That's a business owner. And then an entrepreneur is similar to the business owner, but you add the innovative part of it or innovation part of it, because the entrepreneur creates a franchise. A business owner buys a franchise so that they make the money and keep going. Now, and then there's a tenderpreneur Of course, this is starting to make its way to the dictionaries. It's not yet an official English word, but it is slowly making its way there. It is a business person that is only and solely living on tenders. This is not an entrepreneur who happens to win tenders now and again. This person, all they're looking for is tender, from one tender to the other. They don't care what it is, they will do it. If it's a tender, and if it is if it's about supplying something, they will subcontract. They are not interested in running or building a business. They're not interested in anything. That's what we define in this instance as a tenderpreneur. And by the way, the bad connotation around tenders is not really necessary. It's a business transaction. If you're an entrepreneur and you do a tender, nothing wrong with that. You understand? But as long as you now do not become a tenderpreneur and depend on them, that's not building a business. And then social entrepreneurs. It is the people who are in business to make super difference, and they want to plow back most of the time all the money back into their business to make that difference. There is a drive, a purpose. There's mostly linked with an NPO around this, or an NGO. And then you've got serial entrepreneurs. Serial entrepreneurs is basically a very successful entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur who is moving from transaction to the other, who is moving from idea to the other. The good example is the Dragon's Den. Those guys sitting there in the Dragon's Den as the dragons, they are basically serial entrepreneurs because they are looking for opportunities that they can invest in that are innovative, that they can then jump on, make it work, sell the business, and make a killing out of it. All right, I hope that makes sense. Now, further basics, what things should you do to be able to say, I'm effectively running a business so that we can get to be successful? These things now are seriously basic and essential if you want to be successful. There is a difference from being self-employed or running a small business, taking and eating, basically, what do they call it? Eating out of your hand. You are making money and you eat it the same day and you continue. It's totally different. Here we're talking about building a business that can last for generations to come. All right, it has to be a registered legal entity. Simply because if it is not, you can trade as a sole proprietor in South Africa. But then if you trade as a sole proprietor, when you die, which will happen, and as soon as we get a hold of it as business people, we start to plan for it and stop leaving messes behind when you die. So if it's a sole proprietor and you do happen to die, you are dying with your business. It does not have a legal right to continue because you as the person that was operating is not there anymore. But when you have registered a separate legal entity, you can set up a succession plan in such a way that when you do decide to go, then those who are left behind can continue to run the business and run the legacy, which is one of the most important reasons you need to register a legal business entity. Other people will tell you so that you can apply for this, so that it's okay. Those are part of running a business. I'm talking about building a business that lasts, okay? And then you have to separate your account from the business account, meaning you have to open a separate business account so that you are able to pay yourself a salary, so that you are able to differentiate between the two, and of course, so that you are able to can use these things to can apply for finance later on. You register with SARS. The last person you want to cross is the taxman, because the taxman, when he comes for everything. So you have to be registered and recognized by South African Revenue Services. And then tax clearance. It is just to, most people, they do this when they want to submit a quick tender or a document needed as part of the contract they want to win. Then they go do a tax clearance. No, that's not the time to do it. The reason that the tax clearance is wanted, it is to show that the South African Revenue Services have cleared you to be tax compliant. The accountants, I think, would call it. So when you have the reason for a tax clearance is for you to be tax compliant, not so that you can go submit a document quickly. So let me quickly stand in a queue and put 00000. Whatever you do with SARS, it has to be thought out, planned out, make use of the services of a qualified accountant who knows what they're doing so that they can guide you in that process. from home, not wanting to open an office space, and the consumers are becoming even more educated. So now what then they do to check if you are compliant, what then they do is they then check which body you are reporting to, and are you registered in that body or to that body that you should be affiliating with. Then they can have a peace of mind. To say that they can have a peace of mind, knowing that if you're an attorney, should my money disappear in your trust account, can they go to the law society to come and report and claim their money? If you're a doctor, should you cut with a butcher's knife instead of a scalpel and all these other things, can they report you to the medical council? That's basically that. So it's one of the ways that people use to legitimize your business, including an operational address, so that they can know that they have someone that they can go to when there is a dispute. They can go to a registered physical address when there is a dispute. And then we then move to the next stage, which is a domain. To register a domain so that you use a proper email address instead of using at Gmail. I mean, in our day and age, anybody, even scammers, they run their business saying Yabela or ydt@gmail.com. Gmail is a free account. It does not lift up your value in the eyes of the possible potential client. And they go to the website to check. What are you saying? The same thing on the website as you are saying with your mouth. So as soon as you can, it's less than 100 rands a month, ladies and gentlemen. Get a domain that you can have a professional email address that works. All right, now you have started the business. We are going to get straight to it. There is no time we'll do the questions at the end now. Now, get started. Now, 2 weeks ago, we're talking about starting, or a week ago, about starting a business. Now, I am talking about starting to build a business. Total different things, ladies and gentlemen. With this, I'll give you a little bit of a history, because it is part of the things that was promised that I will do today, to give a bit of a history, of a background of how YDT Group came about. Now, YDT Group started in 2008. I was about to get married the same year. I always knew I am called for business. I want to be a business person, to finance the kingdom, make a difference in community, create jobs, and all those great things. And timing was not right all along. For me, and in business, you should make timing a very important thing, because timing changes everything. And I'll make a quick example about timing, because I want us to understand this. That's why I said today we're going deeper. Unfortunately, we have lesser time, but I'm trying to speak as quick as I can so that I can get to it. Here you are selling a product that helps a person who is currently having a heart attack. That's your product you are selling. You walk into a room and no one is having a heart attack, and you say to them, this product is 10,000 Rand. How many people do you think you're going to sell the product to at that moment? Chances are 0. Walk into a hospital bed and the person is having a heart attack, or into a home, a person is having a heart attack. They are about to die. You have got the product in your hand and you say it is 100,000 Rand. How many of those people do you think they will buy? All of them, chances are. And they will sell their homes, they will sell their cars, simply because you are solving a right problem at the right time, in the right way. So that's why timing matters. You cannot avoid timing in business. So you understand the timing properly. Now, for 2008, we started YDT Group. First, we started by YDT Financial Advisors, which came from, it started being Yabela Dlali Trading, because I was then a branch manager at one of the insurance companies, and everybody knew Yabela, and we started it like that. Now you know what YDT stands for. So we started this business, and the wife-to-be then was about to get married to a branch manager, the youngest in that company. And this dude did not surprise, pulled the carpet under her feet, and right started the business. and left a nice, good medical aid, many benefits job. And then the business started. I started as financial planners because that's what I knew and that's the industry I was in. Now we continued with it. Within a year or two, as we were doing it, we started helping our clients that wanted to invest in property. We always had a plan to get into property, but we knew it was not yet the time. So we would help, speak to an agent friend, take to the bond originator to apply for the home loan, take to the conveyancing attorney, which is a lawyer that changes names when you're buying a property, and then we're involved in the whole process. And they would come back, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with that, Then I was like, wait a minute. This person must go through at least 13 to 15 people just to own one house. And this must all happen in less than 3 months. And they should understand and be okay with it. It's not gonna work. Let's change it. How do we change it? Let's let them only talk to one person. I was self-employed at the time. So let them talk to me so that I guide them through the whole process. Then it happened. Then I was like, wait a minute, I'm not getting paid for this. I actually should be getting paid for this because now I'm doing the estate agent's job. I'm doing the home loans consultant's job. I'm bringing business to this attorney who's not paying me. I'm helping this person apply for all the necessary certificates that are supposed to be issued in this process. And I'm getting nothing for it. No, I have to be paid. Then the journey started of learning each and every industry. Long story short, it took us 10 to 11 years of getting certified in each industry that we operate in, which is in property space, as registered with the estate agency affairs board. We are registered with the FSB, or used to be, now FSCA, Financial Sector Conduct Authority. We are registered with the NHBRC. All the bodies that we work with or we affiliate with, we are registered, even with Legal Practice Council for Nozipho Dlali attorneys. So we then had others, and I would focus on this for a year, 2 years, and I would be a home loans consultant. All I wanted to know was to be the best in what I do, and I wanted to know the details. If they said it takes 5 days to approve a bond, I wanted to know why, how, who does it go through? Can it be quicker? And why does it, what documents are needed? Why do we need these documents? I was curious. I was knocking at every door. I was like a hungry child right through the whole process. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's how YDT Group came about. Now we are certified with all those industries, the first world's one-stop property shop. Our business model was torn apart. You heard at the beginning, in the US, 5 professors sat down tearing it apart just to understand the business model because they couldn't get it. And no one has ever done it. They did their searches using information through the CIA, and they discovered there's no one else in the world that does everything in one stop shop, literally. Not referring to a friend, not referring to, no, everything in one house. So that is how everything did. Now, for all those years, all these different people that were at the office as employees were just support staff. We were not building a business system to last. They were just supporting our current business activities, which were now going. So the business activities went on, and they went on, and they went on, until we decided, all right, now we can therefore be able to extend our offering to other people outside ourselves. Please excuse me 1 minute. I just have to sort out. I was trying to be fancy, sit outside. Now the rain is starting to come. We will just mute just for a second to arrange.
Not a problem. While we wait for Senator Yabela to find a better spot from where he is, I'd just like to extend a warm welcome to everyone that has joined us for the session. We will have a Q&A session towards the end, but what I do encourage is, in the meantime, as Mr. Yabela takes us through his journey and all the lessons that he's had along the way, you're most welcome to share your comments in the chat box and any questions in the chat box. So when we do get to the Q&A, we'll just then revise the questions and get him to assist us with answers. At this stage, I'd like to, okay, I'll give it another a few seconds just to give you an opportunity to also share where you've logged in from. So those who are with us from the start of the session, I mentioned that yesterday we had an opportunity to share our contact details. And you are also welcome to share your LinkedIn links, for example, so that we can connect with one another. Senator Yabela is back. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. It was extremely hot. Now it just started to be windy and rain, but it never killed anybody. So I would rather continue. Now, realize now it's time to build a business to service other people. For years, YDT Group was there to just service my businesses or my properties, but not anybody else. Our clients were only buyers or tenants from our properties, but we were not servicing the market, if I can put it like that, because we had not built a business system yet that was ready for that. Now it was not easy to build a business system because we are in 4 different industries, 5 with our attorney firm. All these industries have their own systems they use to run and manage their businesses. So how do we match these things? We had to build our own from scratch. It was costly. Had to set up IT people, employ them, have them in our building. They're taking up the space you should be taking from your tenants, and. And after it all, we were able to build a system. Now we are building a business system. I do not have to be at the office for the business to run. Literally, which is there we are going. So the things to do when we are building to last, it is your exit strategy. First thing, before you start a business, you need to know how to get out. Someone might say, it doesn't make sense. Why must I know how to get out while I'm getting in? I'm not getting in to get out, but you can get out in 2 different ways, which we shared a week or so ago with JCI Cape Town. You're getting out by removing yourself from the system so that it can go without you. That's you getting out, by the way. There's getting out of selling. It's either when you are a serial entrepreneur or when you just have change of interest. I do not recommend you to be in a business you do not have an interest in. Never. There is no business that does not have challenges. There is no safe business. There is no easy business. People say property, you can never go wrong with property. Yes, only for the people that have 1 transaction in 5 years, you can never go wrong. Because you just take a bond, put it in your name. But when you start to trade with property, like I do, you will lose everything. I've done it 4 times already at some point. You will lose everything at some point because now it is your business. So therefore, there is no safe business. There is no easy business. There is no business that does not have challenges. So therefore, you have to build with that in mind, and you have to really love what you do, so that you can last the test of time and stand through all the storms in that particular business that you are doing. So therefore, when you plan an exit strategy, sometimes you could be planning to build an Instagram. You didn't want to sell, but comes a very huge Mark Zuckerberg who's offering you billions for your business. And at that point in time, you're making money, but not billions. Now, do you then sell or not? Do you hold on because of sentiment? And at that time, let's say your annual turnovers is 100 million for that matter. But then do you then hold on for sentiment's sake, or do you sell the billion-dollar business to a billionaire so that you can move on to another? You sell. But if you did not plan in terms of would I sell, you would be caught up in your decisions. So you do put up your exit strategy at the beginning. The exit strategy also applies for the partners that you might have or you might get into partnerships with, to say at what stage, when it is time for us not to agree and we must part ways, there already needs to be a document done at the beginning so that when that time comes to part ways, there is no now time to argue and debate. But I did this, but I did that. No, 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 no. You agreed at the beginning in writing. Here it is. Now let's implement. Bye-bye. See you in another adventure. Next one, overheads. Overheads, ladies and gentlemen, are important. They can break your business because overheads come with administrative roles. They come with basic minimum systems. They come with everything that you can avoid, other things you cannot avoid. Now, in overheads, try to keep it as low as possible, as simple as possible. In terms of office space, you do not need a big office with a big boardroom at the beginning. What are you going to do with it? No, when I have meetings, go have a meeting at a restaurant with many people. If you want to have a meeting with your staff, it's once in a while, right? And on average, it is worked out that a starting business, which is between year 1 and year 5, will you need a boardroom for not more than 8 hours in a month. Now, a boardroom is usually bigger. It is normally double the size of an office. So if let's say you need 2 offices, the moment you involve a boardroom, that means now you must take a space with 4 offices. When you pay rent in an office, you pay per square meter. So summarized, just because you want a boardroom, you are now doubling your overheads. Because now you say, I need a boardroom to have in my office so that you can look good. No, don't. You don't need a boardroom at the beginning. You just need an office to work. Now there are even workspaces that are created all over the country. YDT created the first ones in Bloom to have a workspace where you can just go in, get a desk, you pay a minimal fee a month, you work in, you don't have your own desk, you just sit wherever there's enough space, there's Wi-Fi, there's a receptionist that takes your calls when you're not in there, that takes your messages, that you can leave the documents with when you go. Or in the same space, you've got one small office where you need privacy. But in the same space, you also get over to a boardroom that you can be given maybe 4 or 5 hours a month for free as part of your rent. But you don't have a big office, but you have an office address. When people come and assess your office, they will find an address and they will be able to work with you in an office address. So you do have an office address, but you have minimized your overheads. The list can go on, ladies and gentlemen. You do not need a telephonic system at the beginning. Excuse me. You do not need to rent out a big machine that you're paying 3,000 rands a month at the beginning. There is so many things that you really do not need at the beginning that you can continue to work with. Do you know that even today, not that they pay me, they should pay me, the suckers, Telkom can convert your landline number into a SIM card that you can put in your cell phone so that you can answer calls wherever you are with a landline number. So cut your overheads as low as possible. You are then be forced to learn most skills at the beginning. The skills that you do not need to have and to learn, you outsource at the beginning. It's okay, but you outsource them per project. That means then the costs thereof are not standard costs that stick with you every month. It is just costs that you pay for that specific project. If that project needs an accountant, then you just employ the services of an external accountant for that project. They charge you a fee, you work it in your expenses of the project finishes, no accountant employed. But you decide to employ an accountant and there is no project, my brother and my sister, you will hear people calling you out of nowhere, just working alone, because you'll be calling stress upon yourself. So please plan everything properly. Systems, extremely important. You cannot go without if you're planning to build a business. Systems are now cheap and easy. Some of them you rent and you pay per user, depending on the industry. I mean, for accountants, they've got their own things that I'm not going to mention systems that they rent out. You pay every month. You don't pay, they log you out, but you pay less than 1,000 rand per user. You're the only user per month. You've got a system. You don't have to create it. Don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. Then you continue like that. So you need systems. Systems will help you remember the client's information, the details, everything to the last T. All right. And then when you move on to the next slide, is now going to detail with the exit strategy. I've touched it, but now I'm just going to go through the questions that you ask yourself when then you are planning for this exit strategy. When would I exit? this business? What would make me exit this business? And why would I then exit when those things happen in this business? And for me to exit, what is my number for me to exit? And I explained previously that an exit number simply means money. It's just figures. Business about bottom line. You understand? So if you want to remove yourself, how much per month should the business be making for you, or you should be earning from, for you then to exit the system? Or how much money would you make if somebody else is buying the business for you then to exit the business? So you need to have these things upfront in advance so that you are ready for. Now there goes the overheads. Keep as low as possible, mostly at the beginning. Don't rush to employ. Buy equipment, tools per project, starting or working capital, basic non-negotiable operational costs. Those ones I've already touched. I'll only focus on the middle three about not rushing to employ. It is nice to know and to feel that I've employed people. I'm making a difference, but it's not necessary. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The moment you learn to take emotions out of business as soon as possible, the better for you. It really is not personal. It is about business. So with South African laws being so hard on business to employ people and to get rid of them when they're in trouble, then you would rather not take that trouble. I'm just being straightforward. Am I saying don't create jobs as a business person? Create jobs, but the jobs that you need, and when you do, you best do your best to get the right people. Because when you have the wrong people, my brother and my sister, it's going to cost you 3 months, 6 months plus of salary when it's time for you to release. The same person who was a bad apple in your business, the same person who's not giving service to your clients, now you must take so long. Then why take the risk? Some people keep on contract as long as you can so that you protect your business. Then you bring your purpose and your emotions later, after the survival of the business when it's running properly. Then the buying of the tools and equipment, you buy the basic necessary ones you need at the beginning. The rest, you buy as much as you can cash per project. Unless your business has gotten a big contract or big contracts that are guaranteeing you business for a certain duration of time, then you can buy on a higher purchase. But if not, then you wait. Chances are, if you can't buy it cash with your business and you need it for the business, chances are you don't need it or you can't afford it. So if you're an accountant, you honestly need your laptop, your phone, just internet, the basic things. You don't need anything beyond that. Let's be honest. Now the same thing. If you're a salesperson, buy the car first. Buy the car, make sure you always have petrol, car, and airtime so that you can move from your client to the next and have something to work on. Those are basic things. Then you can look at buying other things now. Do I look great? Do I get nice furniture when I do have an office? Those things are not important. What is important, can you deliver? And are you setting yourself up to be able to deliver every day what you have promised? And then starting a working capital, if you are starting a business, use your money, work with your money so that you can be free to make mistakes. You can be free to be experimental. You can be free to do anything and everything you want. It is your money. If you lose it, you will cry by yourself. When you use somebody else's money and something goes wrong, a friend turns into an enemy. A sister and a brother turns into something you've never known because they want their money and you took their money. Now they want it and they want it now. And now you start to even question yourself. Now you're under pressure. You must get this person's money. Now you're not focusing on your services or your product because now you are trying to manage this relationship of investors and their money. Yay! If you don't need it at the beginning, use yours. Like seriously, use yours. And up until you then are growing, you've got momentum, then you can tell, now I can use somebody else's money because I've got a running system. I've got track record even for myself that I know I can be able to recover. Should this investor want to pull out, I'll be able to recover from their money. Now we're getting towards the end. What type of systems? The industry related systems, like I said, makes work much better, easier, the best. I mean, when you are an attorney and you use an attorney related system, it helps you because that system was created over time from experience by people who have been in the industry for long. So they know the things you need. If you're an accountant, use those systems because they know which systems will work best for you to put debit and credit and not mix up when it comes to your ledgers. So use that system, and then they help to create a database and to save it. We've mentioned some of those benefits earlier on. CRM simply means customer relationship management, so that you can manage your customers. Customers want to be known. They want to know that you are there when they need you, and they want to be sure that you'll deliver what they are paying you for up until the end. And then lastly, your cash flow management system. They say in business, turnover is vanity. You can tell me your turnover is 10 billion. That means absolutely nothing. It's vanity. Profit, sanity starts to come in. Profit is sanity, because now you're starting to realize, oh, I'm making money. And your turnover could be 1 billion, but your profit is only 100 million, by the way. And then what is your reality is cash flow. Cash flow is your reality, because you can have 100 million profit. Month end is next week Wednesday. If you do not have money to pay salaries next week Wednesday, your employees don't care how much turnover you made. They don't care about your 100 million. They care about their salaries being paid into their account. And that's your reality. And that's the bottom line you focus on, your cash flow. You protect it with everything you have, and make sure your cash flow does not run out, because that means no cash flow, you can't pay overheads, you can't do new jobs. Because even if you're a salesperson, even if you're a person that offers services, like an account just about time, if there's no money, you can't buy data. You can't pay electricity to switch on your computer to work on. So cash flow, you protect it with everything in you. And ladies and gentlemen, that comes to the last slide, which is now about building and trust. Change with times as they change. Deliver on the promise. Communicate with your client. Keep innovating. Times are changing. I said 2 weeks ago, the things that used to be okay, for a while when I started business a long time ago, they used to say you must change your systems every 5 to 10 years. And then as time went by, then we realized every 3 to 2 years. Now, even worse with COVID, if you don't change every month, you don't check how you do things every month, you will wake up and you'll be left behind totally in the whole industry. Because people like wide eating, and you are in the same property space with them, they will surpass you. They will take your clients and they will run fast, because we're not going to be stuck in this. We've always done it this way. No, you change with times. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This comes to the end. Thank you. And I hope we still have enough time to take the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you very much, you, Mr. Yabela Dlali. That was so well put together and just so thorough. Feels like an MBA session on entrepreneurship. I mean, people pay hundreds and thousands of rands for an opportunity to hear what you've just shared with us. I'll just check in from the audience if we do have any questions at this stage. I'll just note so much value in this talk that came from Wandile. Thank you for sharing. Then there's a round of applause coming in from Ayo. While everyone is putting together their questions, Yabela, from my side, it was very thorough how you said, it's inevitable that things can go wrong in this journey. And as much as some of us have avoided to go into the space of entrepreneurship purely based on what if I fail? So I'd like to just hear from you, having walked this journey for so long, how do you keep motivated? How, when you've lost everything, do you wake up tomorrow and say, okay, that went wrong, I'm coming back and I'm going to do it? And just to keep resilient in this space, how have you managed that?
Thank you, Madam Says. I thought you'd never ask. That is a very important thing. But just before answering your question, to address a point you made earlier on, and I just want people to know and understand, yes, you are correct. And people must not take it as a statement that people pay for a lot of money for this. I come for no less than 5,000+ for an hour. I come for no less than 20,000 plus for a day if you want to have me really do work and talk properly. So, and here we are today, we're doing this for free. And all in the name of building our network and building our community and our JCs. And people need to understand that and not take it for granted. All right, thank you. Now, answering the question, there's a couple of things, honestly and really. One, for me, business is a calling. there is nothing else I would rather do than business. 2, the purpose behind the businesses. There is a serious, proper purpose behind the businesses. And one of them, unashamedly, is to build God's house, full stop. And then secondly is to leave a serious legacy for generations to come. And lastly, which then involves the other person, which is then we will not rest and sleep up until the Black person owns multiple properties. They create wealth and build a legacy through property ownership. Until that happens, we'll not rest. Lest we are able to do it for free on radio, on TV, today, everywhere, simply because that is burning. Now, of course, you can easily forget about that when you're facing challenges. Because remember, when you're facing challenges, the first thing that comes to mind, it's human nature. You become self-preservative. Everybody, you can look around when people are in trouble, the first thing they're looking to do is to save their skin. Let me save this, let me say. So therefore, you can easily then forget about the purposes or everything else that comes around. But once you have made that vision out there, you have written it down, the people that have bought in it, and you want to run with it, you just cannot let them down. And then lastly, there are decisions you make upfront as part of even exit strategy as a person. There are decisions you make upfront that become part of your DNA. Like we said earlier on jokingly, that no matter what, no matter where, when I said I will show up, I will show up. If I said I will show up, just know if I'm not showing up, I am seriously in hospital or something that is beyond my control that I cannot do. And I will communicate if I can. If I don't show up and I don't communicate, I'm probably half dead. And those decisions, you don't just wake up one day, you engrave them in yourself. When you are supposed to meet an appointment with a client and it's at 10 o'clock, do you just rock up at 11 and say, sorry, I was busy with another more important, more paying client? It starts like that every day, step by step. Every day, they say the 7 habits, that book, I'm sure most people have read it, the 7 habits of most effective people. As one of them is you create habits on daily basis towards the ultimate goals you want to achieve. You don't say, I want to build a big house and I want to move in June 2022. You start then building in 2021. Every day, you check how many bricks do I need? The following day, do I need cement? You start building, people move into site, they build. And this happens bit by bit. You don't just wake up and keep saying it and writing it on the wall, telling everybody 2022 June, I'll live in a mansion, and you don't do anything and hope in 2022 June you'll be in a mansion. You'll be disappointed, disgruntled, telling everybody not to ever dream again and telling everybody life is a lie. But if you understand and you want to really get there, you will count the cost and you will do things every day to get there. I hope that answers the question.
Definitely. I think the biggest takeaway is to have a plan, to have a vision, and to run with that. We've got a question from Colin, which then says, how can someone move away from an employee pay slip mindset to an entrepreneur mindset?
Okay. Oh, Mr. Colin, that is very tricky. Because it can move, it depends on person to person. And other people are very cautious in life in general. And it is not entirely a bad thing, neither is it entirely a good thing. Number one, for you to be an entrepreneur, you need to know that there's risk involved with it. Simple. And there's a person who used to be my mentor, who was a multimillionaire, who used to guide me when I was transitioning from work to business. And he asked me 2 questions. He said, are you willing to lose all your pensions that you've worked for? Are you willing to fail and lose everything? If the answer is no, you are not called for business, leave it. Be a great employee, climb the ladder, and you will make great success because you will be diligent in what you do. So therefore, please excuse me, there are people at the background that are just deciding to make a noise, but nonetheless, so therefore, if your answer is no to the 2 questions, I would be willing to lose my pensions, I'd be willing to lose everything. So therefore, you should not even think about business, because at some point you are going to lose everything. It could be at the beginning, it could be whatever, and everything does not mean your personal assets as well, but you lose things at some point, because business in itself is a risk. It carries a risk. So therefore, that's one thing that we cannot move away from. So it then would be a matter of working on it over time. But I would say, don't force yourself if you feel you are not for business. Can you create an extra income? Definitely. Do many things. There's network marketing. That is a safer space. You are creating an extra income. There's a system in place. There is many other things that one can do to create extra income. You can buy a franchise. It's a business. There are losses, but it's a built system already that is protected for you to a certain extent, that you can buy it, build up money, buy it, run a food franchise that can continue to make you money. But business is serious risk.
Thank you very much, Senator Yabela. I think it's been quite an informative session and indeed a wealth of knowledge that you have shared with us. I'll now hand over to Uno for his final remarks. But thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Dlali, thank you very much for the time that you have given to GSM and to all the attendees that are here. This journey takes me back in 2018, where we explored the 3-day startup and everything that came up. And your entrepreneurial leadership came up very handy, and at the time I was still kind of struggling mentally to catch up with your courageous and bold moves to make things happen. And it also takes me back to the time that you and Nozipo helped in my application for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. And I know that had you not been there, it would not have happened. That was a game changer for me. And surely my business also now is working because of the contribution that you have made. And at this point, you volunteered to contribute to 22 people's lives through sharing your knowledge. And that is value. So thank you so much for the work that you continue doing. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Uno, and thank you very much, Yabela, for this session.